Welcome to the pod today. Today we have a special guest, Peyton Jamison. He is the mayor of Milton, and we have him on today to answer all of your burning questions about Milton. Thank you so much for being on today, Peyton.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited that you're here because I personally have a lot of questions, but there's a lot of questions that other people have too. So before we get into all of that, why don't you tell me a little bit about what brought you to Milton, like why you live here, all of that.
Sure. I grew up in Roswell. I went to
Okay.
Roswell High School. Met my beautiful wife, Megan, who's sitting right over there. I met her in college at Auburn and
War Eagle.
And we decided, where do we want to move? I knew I wanted to come back to the Roswell area. We were driving around and I will go, let's go a little further north. And immediately we fell in love. Just the sense of place, the community that it was starting to build. It was just a fantastic place. And I tell you what, we have zero regrets.
So what year was that?
That was maybe 16 years ago.
Okay.
Somewhere around there.
So it was still like not like it was today. It was more.
Correct. It was a brand new city. So we're celebrating 20 years today, or 20
Today?
20 years this year.
Okay.
As a city. So it was a very, very new city. Crabapple, there was only one little shopping center there. And everything else was just farmland.
What was the shopping center?
The
Is it still there?
shopping center was zoned by Fulton County.
Okay.
It's where the Campagna is.
Uh-huh.
That was probably built right around 20 years ago or something.
Okay.
And then the other side of the street was done after the 2008, 2009 crash.
Oh, okay.
So
cool.
Old Blind Dog was like the first building.
Oh, okay.
And then all the other new stuff came afterwards.
Okay. So you came to Milton, you found a place, decided to put down roots.
Yep.
But then you became mayor. So what happened then?
So, it was interesting. Everyone goes, how did you get into that position? And immediately when we moved to Milton, Megan started her first business, which was Just for Giggles, the first art and painting studio in the Crabapple area. So she started that business. My business was in the area, and we immediately just got involved. We were volunteering at everything, doing all these community events, Crabapple Fest, July 4th parade, carving in Crabapple with the pumpkins, everything. So we were immediately involved, and I think some of the elected officials were like, hey, why don't you join a board? And I was fortunate enough to join the Planning Commission,
Okay.
which is a very important board, and we can go into that later. It's about zoning and how things are done.
Okay.
Then I was like, I kind of like this. I'll run for council. And then I got on council, and then I was like, man, I really like this. I own a business. It's flexible, so I can probably be a mayor. And good friend and the first mayor, Joe Lockwood, he was term limited out. And so I decided to run for mayor.
What is the term limit for a mayor?
You have 3 4-year terms.
Okay.
So you can do 12 years. Joe did 15 because his first term was a partial term. It didn't count.
Okay.
So he did 15 years.
Oh, that's a long time.
That's a long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I remember when you ran the first time, and I was like, oh gosh, this guy's young.
Yeah.
He's going to take over the city. And I was so excited for it. And it's been what you've done in the city, I think, has been great. And I think a lot of people would agree. There's a lot of people, I think, on both sides of, we need the growth because growth is what makes a city vibrant and alive and doing well. But at the same time, wanting to preserve that Milton ruralness, which I think that y'all have done a really good job of doing that, because one of the things that I wanted to ask you about was the building moratorium. And for a while there was a moratorium on new development, right? And the lots couldn't be flag lots, or maybe was it 1 acre? How did that work?
Well, we always tweak the development, and it's smart. I'm very cognizant of what the former elected officials have done in the past, and make sure we kind of keep those guardrails in place.
Right.
So first, we do not extend sewer. Sewer is in the Crabapple area and the Highway 9 and in the Deerfield area. That is where the density was always planned to be. So after that, then it's like, okay, in the non-sewered areas, we have our Ag 1 zoning. That's what everyone loves about Milton. Now, Ag 1 zoning is minimum 1 acre lots. But as you can see over the last 20 years, homes have changed. The sizes have changed. The accessory structures have changed. The pools have changed. The pool cabanas have changed. Everything. And so, in order for us to continue keeping with that rural look without stripping people's development rights away, sometimes you have to make these minor changes so we continue along what we all love about Milton and to
That's a
protect
great,
it. Yeah.
actually, visual because in Alpharetta, especially along Mayfield, as you're driving in, they had these very small houses and they're putting up on the same lot size these mega mansions that extend almost to like 10 feet of the lot line, which makes the lot not only look small, but it makes it look so crowded. It's the same number of homes, but they're gigantic. And I think that what you're saying makes a lot of sense. I'd never heard it like that before.
Correct. And on those lots that you see in Alpharetta, that's sewered lots. So
Hmm.
when you have a septic system, Fulton County requires the 1 acre. And then it's also how far do you push the house from the street, right?
Right.
So you have that rural look. But the more you push it up the street or up closer to the road, you lose a little rural feel, but allows more space in the back for the property owner to do a pool and a pool house. So we have to be smart about it.
Hmm.
We're all about property rights, but we're also about protecting what we love about Milton. And I think keeping very hard lines on our zoning really helps that.
I agree. And so what we had heard, and I am not on a board or anything, so I don't know, but what is the 3 acre minimum that we were hearing?
So what we're doing, so first, if you're on a gravel road, the it's 3 acre minimums. That's in the zoning. It's always been in the zoning, and
Okay.
that will always stay in the zoning. What we are trying to do is instead we are trying to give incentives for developers to do the 3 acres, whether that's less on the stormwater detention, help on the tree canopy, less on the infrastructure and the curb and gutter that sometimes you have to put in on some of this 1 acre
Right.
lots. So if a developer is coming in and saying, "Hey, I got this 20 acre plot of land. I want to put 18 homes on it." We're like, "Hey, instead of you doing 18 homes, why don't you do 6 or 7? And these are the benefits that you're going to get from doing that." Some developers do that, some don't, but we're trying very hard to offer enough incentives without taking away people's property rights, but give incentives to develop the way we want.
What do those incentives look like?
So a lot of the I'm not a developer, I'm not in
Okay.
that business at all, but a part of the development process, a lot of the money is spent on that front end
Okay.
stuff, right?
Hmm.
The infrastructure, the stormwater, curb and gutter, everything. And we're trying to say, hey, or even the lot, even the maybe the building sizes on because we have how big of a house you can take up impervious surface
Right.
on a piece of land. We're like, hey, we'll loosen that if you do a 3 acre lot.
Okay.
So after
Got
you
it.
add it all up, some developers will tend to do that, and I think a lot of people now are wanting that.
I agree.
And so now when you're looking and you're running the numbers, some are like, you know what, that actually makes a lot of sense. And the more we can do that, the less density we're going to have, the more of a rural feel we're going to have. And it's really making sure that when I'm done, that it's handed off to where everyone it's better as I leave. I mean, that's kind of the
Right.
goal. Is you want to
Right.
leave it better.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
yeah.
And I think another thing that Milton and you guys have done that's really great, in my opinion, is preserving some of that green space, like the at Birmingham Road in Freemanville, that little equestrian
Mhm.
park. I love that. And it's just nice to have areas that aren't going to be developed that we can still utilize like they did 20 years ago and ride our horses out there or just walk with the kids or whatever. So I love the priority that the city has put on the green space. Do we have any more green space happening?
Yeah, so Milton loves their green spaces. So there's a little bit of history. In 2016, the voters approved a $25 million green space bond.
Okay.
So that property that you mentioned that was purchased from the green space bond, we bought hundreds of acres with that. The plan is to slowly we have a what we call a green print, which is a design manual or it's kind of the overarching plan for all those green spaces and how we're going to make them go online. We just did the second phase of the Milton Park and Preserve, which
Hmm.
is a brand new trail. I run it twice a week. It's a 2.5 mile loop. It's fantastic.
And that's over by the pool,
Yep,
right?
yep, it's over by
Yeah.
the pool. Now our largest, our original is Birmingham Park.
Right.
And that we just have now started to put that in permanent conservation
That's
because
wonderful.
that was not part of the green space bond. It was actually part of our unrestricted land that could potentially be developed in the future. And so what I'm looking at is like, hey, we don't want that developed in the future.
No.
That wasn't the intent. So why don't we go ahead and put that into trust to where it will protect for any future elected officials trying to develop on that piece of property. And I think when we look back on it 20, 30, 40, 50 years from
Yeah.
now, it's going to be a great decision.
I love that
Yeah.
park.
Yep.
It's such a great place for the kids and just for everybody. And it's so secluded out there and off the beaten path. Maybe a lot of people might not even know about it, but it's behind the fire station
Mhm.
at Birmingham Road and Birmingham Highway. And it's just a little
It's a
piece of
slice of heaven.
heaven.
Slice of
It
heaven. That's
is.
right.
It's so great. So let's talk a little bit about the development that's happening in Crabapple. Like we have a lot of things that are going on. We had that new section that was built over there where the Vice steak
Mhm.
place is, and love all of that. Everyone complains about the parking.
Mhm.
What are we going to do about parking?
So parking is it's interesting because it's a good thing and it's a
Right.
bad thing. I'm glad that we have some parking issues because people want to be in Crabapple,
Totally.
right? But as we start building out and as more offices are being put online in retail and shopping, we do need to think about that. And when developers are coming in, how do their parking ratios work? Is that something that we need to tweak? Because we have a couple other things coming online in the Crabapple area is we did this a few years ago is so Crabapple was zoned in 2011, right?
Okay.
That all I think was Ag 1 zoning maybe, but they all changed it to a form-based code. And so we have the Mayfield District, which is on the other side. So the Mid Broadwell and Broadwell, that's going to be called the Mayfield District.
Okay.
And so as all these are coming online, we have to be cognizant of how they all work together with the parking. On the other side of the street, sometimes there's really not that big of a parking issue, except during those peak times. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if we want to be economically viable, we want people to be able to drive to a business, be able to find a parking spot, spend their time there, and spend their money. And that is something we're constantly looking at.
So are there new developments planned for that area right now?
The only new development planned is which we were in discussions. It's been a few years, and we had a lot of community feedback, a lot of open houses, and that is the Mayfield District,
Okay.
which is anticipated to be a small, walkable, mixed use type of development.
Okay. And that's kind of where they put those new doctor offices, like across from the library?
Um, Around that area, yes, it's where Mid Broadwell and Broadwell Road. There's like a triangle
Yeah.
kind of there.
Okay. Like where
So
the bicycle place used to be.
correct, kind of around there. And
Okay.
the goal is, or it's not the goal, is what will happen, is that any development around that area will preserve some of those unique buildings
Yes.
that
I love
that
those
we all love. I
historic
mean, it
buildings.
gives the identity of
Right.
Crabapple, and that's the main goal.
That's great.
Yep.
I love that. I love that about Milton. I do have a question though. So a lot of people, myself included, when I came to Milton and Crabapple, I figured that Milton ended right there at Crabapple Market, but it actually goes over to Arnold Mill even.
Mhm.
So is that all? I mean, you still have a little bit of more high density right there, and as you head down toward Arnold Mill. So what is there a plan for over in that area, or is that just still
So we have an Arnold Mill Road plan,
okay?
but our plan does not include extending sewer.
Perfect.
So sewer ends at Green Road.
Uh huh.
And I think sewer is on the maybe left side where the Kroger is. I think there's
Hmm.
some sewer capacity there, or that's on the sewer map. But no, there's no plan to extend sewer down Arnold Mill Road.
And
So
for people that are watching, the reason for saying that we're not extending sewer means that you have to have a septic tank, and a septic tank requires a bigger lot,
correct,
right?
correct,
So by not extending sewer means that you can't have the high density because
correct.
they have to each be on a septic tank, which requires a certain lot size.
Exactly,
So,
exactly. And when Milton was first formed, the original leaders chose certain areas to have sewer and other areas not to have sewer. And it is my job and future elected officials' job to make sure that that stays in place.
Yeah.
And we have a very vibrant economic. I mean, we are very fortunate to be in the North Fulton area,
Hmm.
being surrounded by other very successful cities. And we have, I mean, we're just getting started as far as economic development. I mean, the Deerfield and Highway 9 area, the next 5 to 10 years is going to be completely reimagined into something that we really, truly love and feel, and will be a sense of community in that area. And it's going to give us that economic engine for the city to even propel more in
And
the
that's over
future.
by the Target, right?
Yep, over in the Target area.
So what's planned for that section for the
So
Deerfield
we
project?
have a lot in the pipeline there. We have our ball fields, or 25 acres that we purchased, which is going to be the centerpiece of everything.
Perfect.
We have a mixed use development that was approved about 3 months ago.
Hmm.
We have one that's going to be hopefully coming online here, going through the zoning process in the next 2 to 3 months. And it's really around three major parcels in that area because after COVID, these office areas were just decimated,
Yeah.
decimated. They're all vacant. It's nothing.
Well, the
And
police department was even there for a bit.
yeah, I mean,
So,
and
and
yeah,
they're
correct.
gone.
That's even like City Hall. That was
Yeah.
our original City Hall. And so you have to start thinking about how can you incentivize developers to do something without ruining our city, but giving it a sense of life and purpose in an area that really needs it. And that is exactly what we've done. They've been able to work with us. And the main thing when we talk about when we listen to residents in the area, it's okay, walkability, connectability in this area. How can they live, work, and play in the same
Right.
in the same area? And I think we're doing a really good job. And it's all about the aesthetic and design too. You know, we are very stringent on that, and I get sometimes a lot of calls about that. Why are you so hard about this? Why are you so hard about this? And but at the end of the day, it's better for everybody.
But when someone drives through Milton, like when we were looking for a place to live, as soon as you drive into Milton, you're like, oh, I like this.
Correct.
Everything looks the same.
Yep.
Everything looks great. And it just gives the Milton vibe. I don't think there's a way to describe it unless you've experienced it.
I
But
agree.
it's,
I brag. We have a sense of community
yes,
and a sense of place more than a lot of other cities.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I love it so much, which is why, we ended up here. So, what are some of your favorite activities that we do as a city that we host as a city that you would advise people to try?
Well, my first is Crabapple Fest. It's the
Yes.
first Saturday in October. I remember many, many years ago, my wife and my kids, I was in charge of that for the Crabapple Community Association. So we would volunteer and get all the antiques dealers and all the local businesses set up, and it's now blossomed into just a huge event.
It's so fun.
Thousands of thousands of people come. So Crabapple Fest, first Saturday in October, and what's really starting to take off, if you're a young family, is a lot of our Christmas activities. So we have tea with Mrs. Claus. We have pancakes with Santa at our firehouse. Christmas in Crabapple.
Mhm.
We have a lot of those events during the holidays. The July 4th parade in Crabapple
So fun.
it's just a walking event. It's all about just being neighbors and having that sense of community. And
That I
we
think we've been
correct,
missing as
correct,
a
yep,
nation for
correct,
so long.
correct, correct.
It's like going back in time. I love it so much.
Correct. And so we're trying, even though the city has grown tremendously, even while we've been here for the last 15 years, we can still do what we can to preserve and protect what we love about Milton. And I think we're doing a great job of it. So,
I know. I love all the events. One of my favorite things is actually the farmers market. I know it's
yep,
like,
that's on
yeah,
Wednesdays.
it's
Yep.
it's not like, it's not as big as Alpharetta, which I actually prefer because you could find parking and
Yep.
walk over, but it's the same vendors
Yep.
almost, and it's wonderful.
It's wonderful. It's right there in Crabapple. It's on the Wednesdays, I think,
Yes.
and they do a wonderful job. And really, with the green right there in
Mhm.
Crabapple too, more and more events are coming online, and it's fantastic as I drive through because my office is there, City Hall's there. You just see kids playing, kids riding bikes, you know, parents going out for an evening date night, while their kids are getting a milkshake at the milkshake factory. It's just it's great.
My daughter actually loves to get on the stage and perform for whoever is also sitting
Great,
sitting on the green, so you'll see her doing
love
that,
it.
but, I love it. I love all the family events too that they do the movies on the green in the summer,
Comedy on the green. We
yes.
went there. Yep.
It's just so many ways to get involved in your community, and it's a small it's we're a small close-knit community, and we know our neighbors, and I wanna keep it that way, and I think that the, elected officials feel the same way.
Absolutely. That's what I love. We are very fortunate to have a cohesive working government. A lot of places do not have that. And you go through these ups and downs in local government and local politics. And we just have we have a wonderful city council and city leadership because we all have the same vision for Milton.
Mhm.
And it really helps. And what I've kind of learned over the years is the more you listen to the residents, even though it might take some people say, man, it took so long to open that. It took so long to open this park. But the reason why we do that is we listen, we listen, we listen, and we plan, we plan, we plan, and then we execute. And it's important instead of having knee jerk reactions that we do that. And it ends up working out really well.
Yeah, I agree, and, one of the things that as we were driving to Milton, when we were first exploring Milton, that we saw for probably the first time in Atlanta were the roundabouts.
Yes.
So, Milton has a lot of roundabouts. How do you guys decide where a roundabout goes and where it doesn't go?
I love it. So our engineers, they are much smarter than myself, and they go about and looking at where do roundabouts belong. Right, a lot of it's safety.
Right.
Roundabouts are more safe. Some people will say that's not correct, but it is true because as someone runs through a stop sign going 60 or 50, 60 miles an hour compared to having someone in a roundabout having an intersection, it is more safe. Traffic flows more smoothly. And has less infrastructure. So it's like we prefer the city not to have lights all over rural Milton. You kind of lose that feel.
Totally.
So if you have a small, well maintained roundabout that's well lighted, that's more safe than anything else. And what we're trying to do is get the traffic out of Milton, right? So we don't want all these people lined up at these stop four-way intersections. So the more roundabouts we have, the more we can flow out of Milton and into the main arteries like Arnold Mill Road and
Right.
Highway 9. And I think you're going to be seeing a lot more roundabouts. We have
Ooh,
one under construction, Bethany and Providence. That's
right.
going to be hopefully under construction pretty soon.
Okay.
And then I think we have a couple more in the pipeline. We are just getting our first light at Green Road and Crabapple. So there's a light coming there.
Is there really?
That's a GDOT project. So what a
Wow.
lot of people don't know, Birmingham Highway,
Mhm.
Arnold Mill, Crabapple, Highway 9, those are all GDOT roads. And so they will listen to us, but at the end of the day, they will go through their projects. But Green Road truly needed some relief because they're
You can't
stuck.
turn.
You can't turn. You're stuck at Arnold Mill and you're
Yeah.
stuck at Crabapple Road. And so GDOT finally is going to
So
put a
is it gonna
light
be at
there.
both ends?
Eventually, I know the one light is being installed now on the Crabapple side.
Mhm.
I can only assume eventually they're going to put something on the Arnold Mill Road side.
Well, that Arnold Mill corridor right there gets
It
so
it is
backed up.
very backed up. It's a lot of heavy Cherokee traffic.
Yes. I mean, that's how we zoom into
Yep,
Roswell or whatever because it just goes straight into Hickory Flat.
correct.
So, yeah, a lot of people do that. So, on the horizon, what can we expect from you, from the other council members?
So what we are focusing on right now, and what's so good is like a lot of elected officials are like, oh, what's the next big project that we can do? We're kind of like, let's keep it slow and steady here in Milton. But our biggest goal right now is getting all that online in the Deerfield area.
Mhm.
It's took many years to get that accomplished. We're finally seeing a lot of that work being done. We're open our active parks. We're going to do it very slowly and methodically. And really, these green spaces are such a jewel. And trying to activate those in a way that is smart and sensible for the community, and we still want people to use them.
Hmm.
Like Providence Park is a great example. We doubled the size. It's now 80 something acres.
Wow.
And so we have all these wonderful assets. And so how do we listen to the community to make sure we get it done right the first time? So that's going to be a top priority. And honestly, the public safety is such, like, we never really talk about it because everyone just knows Milton's safe, right? But we continually invest in the men and women that are in our public safety, right? Whether it's having to give raises when we need to give raises, right? Like,
Right.
we don't want them leaving. And so we invest in them, whatever tools and resources that they need. And something that I brag about all the time is we have school officers in our elementary schools. We are the only city in Fulton County that has local officers in the elementary schools. And that is something I continually brag about. And I think every city in Fulton County should just do it.
Well, in this day and
Yeah,
age, I feel like it's required.
it absolutely is. So, we kind of take for granted the public safety
Right.
aspect of it,
Yeah.
but in all reality, we should really focus on it because I always tell people if you don't have a safe city, you're not going to have a city, right?
Hmm.
So, public safety first, zoning, and then all the other stuff can come.
Okay. So, what are your plans for the next few years? Do you have other political aspirations?
So absolutely not. A lot of people say, "All right, what's your next step?" And I tell people on the record every time, this will be my last elected official job. Right? Being mayor is wonderful because you can own a business and still be a great elected official.
Right.
After you're mayor, it's hard to own a business and have a successful family and
Yeah.
raise kids. It's very difficult, but no, I will plan on being mayor as long as the citizens will have me, and then I will still be a resident forever, and that will be it. I'm not going anywhere. So
Is there anything about Milton that you would change? If you could change something like this, what would you change?
if there's one, I wouldn't say a regret or change. But we go back to that green space bond
Hmm.
in 2016, right? And I was not an elected official then, so it's easier for me to obviously say. But it's like we probably could have gone bigger and probably done, instead of 25 million, we could have done 50 million, maybe even more. Because land back then, I mean, some of the land that we were purchasing from 2016 to just a few years ago, I mean, we bought at some great prices, and it's a great return on investment.
Well, right now land is like 200,000 an acre.
Yeah, some of the land
So
that we bought was less than 60,000, and this is, yeah,
what?
yeah. So we did a really good job with
Wow.
some of the acquisitions, and that's a return on the taxpayer money. I mean, because it's taxpayers' money at the end of the day, and we have to
Hmm.
be very smart about it. So
Nice.
it's going to be, the future is very bright for Milton.
I'm so excited, and I'm so thankful that you came and spent some time with us today because I want people to love Milton the way that I love Milton and the way that you love Milton. And until you really get here and feel what Milton is and the community that it is, I don't think that you can get a real sense of Milton. So I hope that this will encourage people to, if they're not already in Milton, to investigate Milton because it is, in my opinion, one of the best places to live in Georgia. And if they are, that hopefully they learned something today about the development and where you guys are headed. Because as a citizen, as a taxpayer, it's nice to know where your money goes. And sometimes I don't have time to attend all of these city council meetings and things because they're not usually 30 minutes in and out.
No,
They're, u-
they're on a Monday night when you have kids' sports activities
yeah,
or something. But
and they last like
yeah,
hours.
and I
So
mean, something that I want people to know is, like, we are approachable. You can call me on my cell phone. You can send me an email, and we're going to answer it. We don't sit in some high castle somewhere. We're neighbors and we're community members just like everybody else, and so we're here to help.
And I know, and I am so appreciative that you answered my call
Yeah,
because I
absolutely.
just called you out of the blue too and
Sure.
was like, hey, want to do this podcast? So I'm really thankful. So thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And is there anything that you want anybody on Milton to know?
I want them to know that we listen,
Hmm.
we listen, we listen, we listen, and then we execute. And if we're doing something wrong, just pick up the phone and call.
Perfect.
We're always here to listen.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Peyton.
You got it. Thank you.